Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. I'm feeling very pumped up right now. A lot of energy going on, not necessarily physically, but spiritually, mentally. I actually started off kind of sluggish today, didn't sleep very well at all last night. And then I had a conversation today with two men. It was a little conference call we did. And I'm telling you, I just felt fired up after that conversation because these two guys are both very much in line with the things that we talk about on here. Not just preparedness, not just the stuff that's going on in the world, but about building warriors, warriors for truth, warriors for God, because of the stuff that's going on right now. And the theme of our conversation was awakening the lions, I think. I think that would be considered a good theme. And so after talking with those two gentlemen, I felt really on fire and pumped up. And there'll be more to come on this channel from that conversation, and you'll just have to wait and see what that's going to be about. But it is a nice thing to be able to talk with others that are like you, like-minded, so that you can get energy, shared energy, or whatever you want to call it. It's a good thing. That's why I promote communities, building some type of tribe around you of like-minded people. I have some news to talk about today, but before I get started with that, I do want to mention silver and gold prices. While they've been fluctuating, they've been on a downward trend and are pretty low price. So if you're interested in buying physical gold or silver, there is a link down in the description below from a company that I personally buy most of my, when I buy precious metals. It's usually the go-to place that I go to. They've been recently ranked as one of the #1 places to buy that. That's Money Metals. You can go to moneymetals.com. Down in the description, there's a link that'll take you there, and purchase pretty much whatever you want, whether it's junk silver, eagles, bullion, gold bullion, all kinds of stuff. Goldbacks, they've got it all there, and their customer service is really great. And if you purchase over $250, you usually get a little free gift. I think right now they're doing a 1/4 ounce silver round as a free gift if you order $250 or more. So go to that link down in the description below if that's what you're in the market for. All right, so a lot of things going on in the news. And the big thing is this Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2. Apparently, they have been attacked. As of this morning, I think it was last night, I actually started seeing reports of a leak in one of those two pipelines. And as of this morning, it became both of the pipelines, and then a lot of talk that this has been done as some type of sabotage. If you're not familiar, Nord Stream 1 and 2, these are pipelines flowing from Russia into Europe. It is where many European countries get the bulk of their natural gas to keep things warm, to run things. And as we all know, right now they are in very much crisis mode in Europe because of energy costs. Energy costs alone have hyperinflated. We're not talking just inflated, hyperinflated. There's been certain segments of the energy sector in Europe that the inflated increased price is well over 1,000%. We're not talking like 20%, 22%. Some of these are at like 1,800%. Those are hyperinflation numbers. And we're seeing businesses all across Europe shut down. I mean, they are in absolute crisis, critical mode. It's going to be very dangerous this winter already without this happening. And then now these two major pipelines, well, they're apparently shut down because of what appears to be some type of sabotage. Of course, a lot of the NATO countries are quickly lining up and blaming Russia, and it's quite possibly that it is Russia. In fact, it's probably most likely that it's Russia, although there are some people that are starting to believe that maybe this was some type of American or other country to do this to accelerate the war. But I do believe that this is going to very much exacerbate the whole Russia-Ukraine and Russia-NATO and United States problem. So this is one, I think this is really big. It's interesting. It seems like in the news it's being covered, but I don't see a lot of traction Although I have been busy today, so I haven't been able to spend a lot of time checking, but it's almost like this feel that there's just not a lot of traction to it. A lot of people aren't paying attention. And I do believe that this is quite serious and something to be watching because of several things. If they're able to prove that it was Russia or not, or some other terrorist agent, those are going to be bad things, but also the fact that it's drastically lessening the amount of fuel that's going to be sent to Europe. It's already critical. I mean, it's already bad. So this is just going to make things worse. And continuing on with international matters, U.S. Coast Guard has spotted, or did spot, a Chinese guided missile cruiser about 75 miles off of the Alaskan coast, along with a Russian naval ship. So both Russia and China naval ships were just off the coast of Alaska. I know a lot of you are going to say, well, it all depends, because there's certain parts there that Russia and Alaska are pretty close. I don't know exactly where it is, but it's definitely something that's caused some alarm because of this happening, mostly because of one of them was a guided missile cruiser. Along with that, in the last couple of days, it was reported that Chinese fighter jets were flying directly over naval destroyers, and there's actually video footage taken by the Chinese pilot. And you can see below, Navy ships below that they're flying over. This was in the Taiwanese Strait. This is not normal, okay? And while it's not necessarily an act of war, it certainly shows that they're becoming more and more brazen. And maybe it's because of this. Xi Jinping finally appears in public, dispelling rumors of an unrest and coup. Maybe it dispels some of it, but I still stick with what a few other people have said. You know, when there's smoke, there's fire. And there definitely this past weekend was some things going around in China. I mean, there's just certain things that we know were happening that were not normal. And just the fact that there was kind of almost media silence for several days in a row, which was really unusual for Chinese media, indicates that there probably was something happening. What that is, we may never know. China and the CCP are very good at keeping the truth under wrap. But it does look like Xi is still in control, and most likely will be elected for a third term and continue his reign. Here's one, a go-getter there for Joe Biden. The Afghan and Taliban sign a deal with Russian oil products, gas, and wheat. So here we are, we tuck tail and run in Afghanistan, let the Taliban take over, and being told when this happened. And since then, the Biden administration has tried to spin this that, well, we did this, but we're working with them. We've created some relationship and communication. So they're not our enemies anymore, right? I mean, that's kind of what they've tried to make it the spin, be. That, well, they're not really our enemies anymore. Well, they're definitely not our buddies anymore, because they're signing a deal to buy their oil from Russia, their gas, their wheat, and most likely it's not going to be paid for in U.S. dollars, although I cannot confirm that at all, but it's something that I would suspect. Shifting gears to some food. We still have food problems, folks. Today I went to my local little farm store that I mention all the time. It's something like out of 1955. There's not too many like it. It's certainly not a Tractor Supply or anything like that. It's just a local one owned by a couple of older brothers. And it's the kind that you walk in, there's a bunch of old farmers sitting around in chairs, chewing sunflower seeds, and there's always some food being cooked that's being passed around, and they have just a little bit of everything there. But anyway, so I was there today, and I was talking with a local farmer, and he's actually one of the bigger hay producers and hay farmers in this area. He produces, I don't know how many acres, but a lot, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres he has all over the area, and that's his big business. And we were talking, and he said, this past year's been really rough on hay, because of the drought and because of the fertilizer prices. He says, but I'm being told by my contacts, the guy that he buys his, where he gets his fertilizer from, that it's just going to get worse, that they're expecting next year to be way worse than this year. when it comes to fertilizer prices. And if you remember, just a few days ago, I was showing you all the fertilizer plants in Europe that's either shut down or they've greatly reduced their production. And there's been some here in the United States also, which that's all part of the Agenda 2030, Great Reset, zero carbon emissions plan. And he's being told that, you think this year was bad, because I remember him telling me, I don't remember the exact numbers, but I remember him telling me that he bought a fraction of what he normally buys because it was just too much. If he bought as much fertilizer as he normally would for all of his fields, he would have made nothing. So it's only going to get worse, folks. I've been telling you that. There have been all kinds of experts warning that 2022 is just a little bit of a wake-up call, okay? When it comes to food prices, when it comes to inflation, and all these other issues. 2023, you better hold on. It's going to get serious. And I received an email today from a guy that I've been corresponding with. He works within the railroad company, one of them. And he's worked for him for like a decade now. And he said that the whole railroad strike thing, it's not completely cleared and done. In fact, there's a growing sentiment. They haven't voted on that. I don't know if you know that. The tentative agreement to not strike and to accept the unions, to accept the railroad company's offers, that's all tentative. That was done through negotiations. It has to now be sent to the actual union workers where they vote on it. And the union workers, he's saying, they're starting to say that they don't want to accept this. That's not acceptable, and they're not taking the deal, and they want to strike. And I don't have I'm not going to show you the information because I don't want to give this guy away. I don't want to, he works for him, and I don't want to give away his identity. But he sent me some information that the unions have sent out to their workers that the vote's coming up soon, and they understand that a lot of you don't want this, but if you choose to strike, that the union, they will be behind you on this. And he said this is the first time since he's ever been part of a railroad union that the type of language that they used, indicating that there's still a decent chance that a strike could happen. So keep that one in mind, that it's not done and over. I'm not trying to hype it up and scare everyone, but I'm just telling you, it's not done. It's not a signed deal. Grocery shortages. Butter will be harder to find this year, and there's several in this article that talks about several. Most of them you've already been aware of, things like ketchup and sriracha and baby formula, certain other items, women's hygiene products are in short supply. But it's warning people with the holidays coming up that some of these items are popular items for holiday cooking, and they're in short supply, and so you need to be ready for that. You need to be thinking about that. This is why I encourage you to buy local. We purchase our butter from a not too far, a little local dairy. It's just a mom and pop thing. They have cows, and we buy our raw milk from them, and they also make the butter. We used to make the butter, but they make it themselves and sell it, and it's amazing quality. That's not going to be affected by the shortages, but if you're depending upon the grocery store to get your butter, then yeah, it's going to be affected. You're going to see shortages, and you're going to see prices increase. And speaking of price increases, eggs, well, they're back on the price increase list. They're going up. In fact, they're hitting record highs lately. Remember a few months back we were talking a lot about chicken and eggs because of the bird flu thing that was going around, and how they killed off something like 38 million poultry. Well, there's been a resurgence of that bird flu, and so who knows how far it's going to go, but we could see definitely millions and millions more euthanized chickens, and it's causing egg prices to hit an all-time high. Now, they've been high for a while, but they're going higher, which is another reason why you should have your own. Chickens are super easy. Most cities now allow you to have chickens, so there's not really much of an excuse anymore to not have chickens. It doesn't take that many to just have eggs, and if you're just wanting eggs alone, you don't need a rooster. It's pretty easy. Now, is it cheaper necessarily? There's an upfront cost, and it takes a while to recoup that. But I'm telling you, you're going to produce some healthy eggs, a lot better than you're going to get at the store, for a lot cheaper. even with the increased prices of chicken feed. In the end, it makes you more self-sufficient. It makes you less dependent upon the system, which is really the end goal of what we talk about on here. Is making ourselves, putting ourselves in a place where we're less dependent upon the system so that we don't go down with the sinking ship, right? So I want to encourage you to continue doing these things, the things that make you more self-sufficient. It's getting your houses in order. That's why I say this every day. It's not just a little, cliche kind of thing. It's for real, folks. It's time to do it. It's time to get ready. Spiritually, most definitely, that's very important. Mentally, you got to do that. We need to be mental warriors. And physically, meaning the physical body and our physical world around us. The preps that you need, the tools that you need, living in the best place that you can, and then having the knowledge to know how to do the things to keep yourself as self-sufficient and survive as best as possible. These are some things that we all need to be working on. No one has it down pat. No one's perfect, right? And we're all at different levels, but we need to keep pushing forward because the things that are changing around us are changing quite rapidly. And we're heading into the cooler months now. So I suspect that we're going to start seeing some pretty serious things and serious hurt when it comes to the people's pocketbooks. I think we're already starting to see that. People are really starting to feel the hurt now. And it's only going to just get worse. Folks, get your houses in order. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.